I'm Ayush. I currently lead our sales team in our Bangalore office at Rippling. We are about 50 members strong in our sales department. The teams that I manage serve our US, EMEA, and India market. Been at Rippling for about 12 months now, just completed a year. I think very crucial, obviously, like uh, in these times, sourcing a lead is anyways very hard than it used to be with so many vendors in the market, and buyers are so distracted, right? Everybody has access to digital platform. Everybody is doing SEO. Everybody is doing inbound marketing ads, all of that stuff. So every lead is very precious and more weight attached to it. The fundamental to not losing to your competition is twofold. I would say one is the sales training. How are you training your sales reps on it? And then other is the product feedback loop. Because your sellers are on the ground, they know most about your competition, they know most about the gaps that they see in their product. They have to give that feedback back to the product team so that those are plugged immediately. Now, when I say sales training, I would say few aspects. Know your competition. If you know your competition, you will be able to understand the traps that your competitor is putting during the sales cycle. Like even your buyers, you may ask your buyers at the start, hey, if you are evaluating other vendors, and most likely the buyers will say, we will not tell you that. But the line of questioning they will ask in a deal might help you understand that, hey, this question might be coming from a competitor or a trap that is being put there. So that is very important, that you know your competition, what kind of traps they put against you. Then again, the most fundamental skill of a sales rep is discovery. If you are doing the right discovery and early into the sales cycle, if you're asking questions about, hey, if you are evaluating other vendors, that could be for reasons of, I can help you compare us against that vendor that you are comparing against. There might be scenarios that a buyer is looking at five different vendors, and your probability is 20% in that case. So you may want to eliminate two or three vendors from the race and say, hey, we compete with this vendor or that vendor. So suddenly your pool is reduced to two or three vendors, and your probability increases by 33 to 50%, right? So I think discovery is very crucial. Keep asking your buyers early on in the sales cycle if they are evaluating vendors. So many times we have seen that towards the end of the cycle, we realize, hey, this vendor was in picture, and we lost the deal to them. We never identified that vendor in the mix. And then keep asking for gaps in the sales cycle. Like I always used to ask my buyers that, hey, I'm always very paranoid about losing a deal. Where do you think so far, our product is lagging behind the other vendors you are evaluating? I think that is super important because sometimes buyers do very micro feature to feature analysis. And the buyer may say, hey, I feel that some of the vendors have this capability which you don't have. And it is sometimes important to acknowledge that, yes, we don't have, but then also quantify that if it is a must have, is a deal breaker or not. If it is not a deal breaker, then obviously you can do a lot of things around commercials, you can do a lot of things around services to soothe that miss that your product may have. So always ask, hey, are we lagging behind other vendors? And your buyers will give you some hints around that, and try and work towards reducing those gaps that you have in the deal.
Hi everyone, my name is Prakhar. I'm a part of Whatfix. As you may know, Whatfix is a digital adoption platform. We work with companies to simplify their end user experience. Our vision is to make technology user savvy. And that's what we do. My role is I take care of new business for North America and EMEA. Started as the first employee of the company, been about 10 years I've been with Whatfix. Yeah, I think this question is more like how it happens in sports, right? You want to win all the games, of course. You practice for it, you prepare for it, but do you win all the games? The answer is no. It's the same. It's the same in sales as well. You'll not win every single deal, and it's hard to. And it's also, you know, it's also sometimes that people tend to be too hard on themselves when they think that, okay, why are we losing to competition? I think it's important to be paranoid about it for sure, so that you continue to focus on how do we try and reduce our loss percentage. That's for sure a good focus area. But just being paranoid about why are we losing in the first place is not a good rationale to have. So now, by that segmentation, if I have to answer the second part of your question, which is, okay, how do we reduce that? Yeah, I think loss analysis is a good way to get to the bottom of why are you losing in the first place. If you're losing, for the same reasons consistently quarter on quarter, it is a big problem. Okay, there is something seriously wrong with how you're operating, and some serious introspection needs to happen. Your loss reasons have to keep changing quarter on quarter, which means that you are evolving and learning from your previous losses and making sure that you're not losing for the same reasons again. It's like learning from your past mistakes, right? You don't make the same mistakes again. It's the same thing in sales as well. And when you look at your wins in general, your wins should be consistent. Your win reason should be consistent and more should be added to it. So that's how you have to look at this analysis. Uh, you will still get to the bottom of reasons, and even though they are changing, there will be newer reasons because see, the market is ever evolving, and your competitors are pretty much probably doing the same what I am suggesting. So it is still going to be hard, but you have to be paranoid and be focused on the controllables that you can control, and go from there. A lot of times, certain losses will also happen because of not doing a good enough discovery. You will realize how many prospects who actually went through the sales cycle and were late in the sales cycle were never a good fit for you in the first place. The competitor that you lost to, they were always a good fit for that competitor. And that's how the market is. But you still wanted to give it a shot and try. So you can't completely avoid that as well. So again, a mix and match, but high level, if I have to state, you have to be paranoid about your loss reasons not being consistent and continuing to change so that you're working on it.
I'm Bethany Ibarra. I spent the first kind of half of my career working across the business cycle at a multinational technology company called Motorola in a few divisions. And that led to uncovering an opportunity that led me to build my first P&L, launch my first market, and that's where I've kind of remained in commercial leadership ever since at Lenovo, Google, and of course, Motorola. My most recent role was the Chief Revenue Officer at an engineering firm that designed and developed machine learning systems. Yeah, a myriad of things. There's not one answer to this because every deal, every opportunity has a bit of a different landscape, even though there's certainly patterns. But I had someone wise in my network once tell me there's 3 key success factors to anyone driving, overdriving their sales targets. One is a great product with the right product market fit. 2 is macroeconomic factors, an upswing in a market, a bubble, etc. And 3 is sales skills or sales, ability of that individual. And you only need 2. So some things, taking a step back, really understanding your product is really paramount. That sounds pedantic, but just cannot emphasize that enough. The market does change. Your product or services evolve. And understanding how to position it. So I actually just posted on LinkedIn about this. People who still run businesses kind of have 2 key motivators for why they buy: pain avoidance and pleasure seeking. So understanding how to message that's authentic and real about why your product or service allows that key stakeholder or business to avoid pain. Businesses think about risk. They're always assessing risk, even more than pleasure seeking in a B2B environment, different than B2C or business to consumer, making sure a launch is on time and meeting their revenue targets, avoiding a career mishap by picking a lower cost vendor that maybe can't meet quality goals. So, avoiding pain is really key in that positioning throughout the sales cycle and throughout the entire customer life cycle. And certainly out of position pleasure, you're going to have a cost savings by this new module that you're implementing, a sense of adventure that they're going to get by exploring a new technology. Probably a little bit of an understatement in the priority there, and they're intentionally listed 1 versus 2. But understanding the motivators of your target customers, how to crisply communicate that and message that, and continually work with your team, and understanding why your company wins and why it's not. That is an always-on approach to maintaining a robust pipeline that you actually have a higher win rate.
Hi, my name is Joe McNeill. I'm CRO here at Influ2. We do contact focused advertising to help our sales and marketing teams align and improve prospecting conversion rates. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine line because if you look at the amount of deals you lose, your biggest competition always is going to be status quo. They don't buy anything. They don't buy your competitor. They just keep going with whatever they have. Unless you're in a real commoditized market, like you're selling telecom or internet services or insurance, where they have to have something. But in my world, in the organizations I've been in, the thing we've competed against the most is status quo. Is they just don't buy anything. So like for me, a lot of times you can get too focused on beating the competition. I think you just need to understand, like, what are we best at, right? What are the areas that our product and our organization supports prospects and customers the most, right? And at my last company, we had a copycat competitor that was cheaper than us. So it was like, if they were focused on price only and not service, we're going to lose, but that's okay, right? So I think if you get too hung up in trying to win every deal, then you can get lost. So I think you need to focus on, like, where is our sweet spot and where are we the best, and focus on, if you're someone that cares about this, then we can really help you. If price is your main thing, then maybe we're not the best solution for you. But honestly, for me, I spend most of my time focusing on how do we sell against status quo and sell against do nothing, because that's the one that you lose to the most, more than any other competitor.